Yo, what's on your boy Ghost here? Today I'm bringing you guys another comparison video between the Grau and QBZ. And I wanted to make this comparison because these two weapons have been talked about as like meta ARs over the course of Season 6. Or at least the week that Season 6 been out. Especially the Grau. I've been seeing a lot of just Grau action recently, which is kind of, not confusing, but surprising. Because I wouldn't have expected the Grau to like make a comeback this far into the Warzone cycle. Especially with guns like the EM2, XM4, and C58 currently, you know, available. But it's cool to see because the Grau is obviously a, I guess you could say, OG weapon of Warzone. It's definitely one of those weapons that was like the face of it for some time. And the QBZ, a weapon that is an underrated demon gun. The gun is really good, but doesn't really get talked about. But now, these two weapons are getting attention, and you know, we're gonna explore the. I guess we're just gonna explore to see if this is the secret meta for Season 6. But before we get into this video, I want to say if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 2,000. Also, you guys can tell by my voice, I am still under the weather. We're getting better every day, though. And, yeah, man. With that being said, though, let's get into this comparison. And you ever had the recoil pattern for the QBZ? And as you guys can see here, the recoil pattern is literally a straight line. And that is one of the biggest things that both of these weapons have, where they have low to no recoil. And that makes these weapons just very, like, suitable for a lot of people and very capable of being able to compete with top ARs. Because if you guys take a look at weapons like the XM4, EM2, and C58, they're very powerful weapons, but the one thing that they don't have is like great recoil. Like they go all over the place. If you're not able to control them properly, you're going to be shooting zigzags. And weapons like the Grau and QBZ don't really require much, and you're able to control it pretty easily. And for a lot of players and a lot of people in this Warzone player base, weapons that are easy to control with no recoil, you know, that's what people tend to go towards too. And yes, for a lot of us, we think, yeah, it's a no skillful meta, it's a no skillful weapon, which, you know, it's true, but there's just a lot of people out there, we gotta face it, that prefer these weapons or like these weapons a lot more than guns like the EM2, which, like, the EM2 undoubtedly is, like, probably the best AR in the game. Just statistically speaking, it's the best AR in the game. But yet, some people don't use it because they just don't buy with it, whereas guns like the QBZ and Grau, they're able to do it, even though they're statistically not better than a gun like the EM2. But if you guys take a look at like clips like this, like you're just gonna see this kill right here. Moments like these are what makes these weapons give you hope, because when you get kills like these and you kill people this quickly, and you're like, bro, this gun is really good. And I was watching Nick Merckx use the Grau, and I was like, bro, yo, is the Grau really like back? And I was just mind blown because I was like, bro, this Grau, it really hits like this, right? And I started using it, and I started getting kills where I'm just melting people, and I'm like, yo, this gun's hitting, bro. And same goes with the QBZ. Like, both of these weapons are, statistically speaking, not the greatest. But just all the other factors of these two weapons make them weapons that are suitable to compete with just top ARs in the game, and just makes them put in their conversation. Like, to be honest, I'd be comfortable with putting these two weapons in like the top 5. Now, granted, top 5s can vary between people and vary between how you feel about certain weapon and other weapons in the game, but I mean, at the moment, I have no problem putting either of these weapons in the top 5. But maybe not both of them, but definitely like on a certain day, I might be like, yo, Grau easily top 5. But you know, for me, I tend to flip-flop weapons all the time. So like when I give you a top, like I'll give you one top 5 today, and then a week later you ask me what my top 5 ARs, and I'll give you something different. But it's just like, judging about what I do, like stuff always changes because I'm always like using new things. I'm always getting like new outlook on weapons every time I use them. Like every time I use a weapon, it tends to not be the same as I did like in the past. If I use the Grau today, it's gonna feel different to me in 2 months. Like it's just how it is for me. Many of you guys may feel the same way. But regardless, bro, I think right now is probably one of the better times for both these weapons to come into the meta, because I don't really think necessarily looks like a dominant meta right now. Yeah, the EM2 is favored. Actually, I can't even say that fully because I do see a lot of EM2s, but I see just a combination of AKs, XM4, C58. It's like, it's not a predominantly EM2 meta, which is kind of crazy because, again, statistically speaking, it's truthfully the best they are. But that just goes to show you that although statistically it might be the best, people just have to feel right with it, and that's where guns like the QBZ and Grau come in, where if you feel right with it, bro, it's gonna be hidden, and these guns do be hidden. But anyway, man, with that being said, let's get into the Grau and statistics. And here we have the recoil pattern for the Grau, and as you guys can see, it's actually a little bit misleading because this Grau it doesn't really move. So the fact that the QBZ base recoil pattern looks like a lot better than the Grau is kind of interesting. But again, the Grau has no recoil, and actually, this is something that I would recommend to some of you guys. I feel like from what I've seen, putting a VOK on the Grau has made the gun look like it hits harder. I didn't personally try it out because I was like, okay, I'm gonna give the Iron Sight Grau a chance, and if it doesn't hit the way I wanted to, I'm gonna use the VOK. But it, you know, started hitting. You know, but still, I would definitely recommend the VOK if you guys feel like the base or the Iron Sight Grau isn't really to your taste. Because I've been seeing people use the VOK on the Grau a lot more frequently, which is kind of insane because I think the Grau has by far one of the best iron sights in the game without a debate. Especially like it comes with no debate really. Like this gun has the best iron sights in the game, if not top 3 iron sights in the game. It's always been like this. Very few guns compete with it in terms of iron sights, and it's just really good. But anyways, man, moving on over to the stats. We're gonna start off with the fire rate for the QBZ. We have a 679 RPM, and then for the Grau at 730 RPM. And I gotta be honest, seeing the Grau with this high of a fire rate, almost as fast as the XM4, is very, very, very surprising. And that's just goes to show you that not everything's all about damage, because both of these weapons actually have a way faster fire rate than guns like the C58 and EM2, but they obviously lack the damage compared to these weapons. And then in comparison to like the XM4, the QBZ has a slight disadvantage in fire rate, and then the Grau literally is very minimal, literally by like 21 RPM if I remember correctly. But then moving on over to the damage, this is where it gets this is where, you know, the whole conversation sparks up, because damage obviously very important in Warzone, and in comparison to guns like the XM4 and EM2 and C58, like those are the guns that I'm gonna really refer to a lot. You guys can't already tell, because you know those are, in my opinion, the top. It's like the 3-headed dragon. Yeah, we could squeeze in the AK in there too, but you know I'm more familiar with the other 3 that I just named. But anyways, for the QBZ 0.31 meters, we have 42 damage to the head, 33 to the neck and chest, and then 30 to the stomach, and then 28 to the extremities. And then for the Grau for 0.31 meters as well, we have 42 damage to the head, 28 to the neck, chest, stomach, and extremities. So obviously right here, in terms of these 2 weapons, the Grau is slightly weaker than the QBZ. But overall, these 2 weapons are pretty solid in terms of damage. In comparison to the guns that I've already named, they're, you know, definitely weaker. But if you guys heard, the headshot damage is what you got to put all your like focus on. You got to like get those headshots in these battles to maximize these weapons. If you get headshots with these weapons, bro, you're gonna be a-okay. You're gonna be looking really good, and that's what makes these weapons give you that slimmer of hope. All like, oh wow, these guns are pretty good. And you know, you just gotta make sure you chain those headshots. You obviously, unless you're a hacker, you're not gonna hit all the headshots, but getting 3 to 4 headshots in a gunfight is gonna go a long way when you use these 2 weapons. And moving on over to longer ranges, we have 31 meters and above for QBZ. We have 36 damage to the head, and then 28 to the neck and chest, 26 to the stomach, and 26 to the extremities. And then for the Grau, we have 36 damage to the head, and then 24 across every other part of the body. And this might seem a little insignificant and maybe just completely takes them out the question, but I think these 2 weapons are definitely a lot better for long range than guns that I've already mentioned, because you're able to control them a lot easier. Yes, you can get away with the EM2, C58, and XM4 judged solely off the damage, but for the average player, if you can control the recoil at range, the Grau and QBZ is definitely like a lot better, and it's probably gonna beat you. Like for me personally, I would prefer EM2 no matter what, because I could do it. I'm confident in my abilities to, especially at range, use the gun and be able to capitalize with the gun. But for the average player, I think a Grau QBZ definitely a lot better for range. Yes, the damage aren't the same, definitely weaker, but I mean it's all about hitting shots. Like high damage is cool and all, but if you can't hit your shots, why does the damage? Like the damage doesn't matter. And so guns like the QBZ and Grau, easier to hit shots with. You're actually able to output damage, and for most players, that's what you need. And I think that's why, now thinking about it, I think that's why a lot of people prefer the weapons, because it's just easier to hit shots. Because at the end of the day, man, all that matters is hitting shots. If you can't hit shots, It doesn't matter what the tasks are. It doesn't matter what if the gun is really good or really bad. Like, you're not hitting the shots, bro. It just doesn't matter. But yeah, man. With that being said, let me know what you guys think about the Grau and QBZ. Do you guys think they are like top 5 candidates for Warzone, or top 5 AR candidates for Warzone? And out of the two, which one do you guys prefer and why? And yeah, man. With that being said, though, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys later, and I'm out. Peace.